Hello and welcome to Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel. I'm your host, Chris Lee, joined by Graham Doty. We are doing power rankings for SEC baseball heading into week 5. Speaking of our presenting sponsor, FanDuel, you can go to FanDuel right now and get odds on several SEC teams to win the national title. LSU currently plus 600. That's the betting favorite at FanDuel. Not sure they're the actual favorite at this point after this weekend. We'll get into the Tigers and many other teams. Arkansas and Texas, both plus 1,200. Mississippi State plus 1,500. We will talk about all those teams and more. But first, a word from our presenting sponsor for baseball, HOMEFIELD Apparel. Graham, I got a big shipment of their gear coming and have been checking my front porch diligently for it to arrive because, man, they make good stuff, and I cannot wait to get mine.
Yeah, me too. Dylan beat us to the punch. Dylan already got his stuff in, so it's safe to say we are both jealous. What do you need to know about HOMEFIELD Apparel? Here's what you need to know. They're based out of Indianapolis, Indiana. They got over 150 different universities and colleges. March is the perfect time to hop on the HOMEFIELD Apparel train. You got March Madness just days away. SEC baseball is upon us, so whoever your favorite team is, go to homefieldapparel.com. They got vintage, classic stuff. It all looks fantastic. Chris had the most challenging time ever trying to figure out what exactly he wanted to order. It's like, do I want this Air Force shirt? You better believe I want this Air Force shirt.
Yeah.
And it's just because everything that they got is phenomenal. So check out homefieldapparel.com.
We had an allowance, and boy, did I have some trouble making some choices there. I might have to order a little on my own. I mean, there's some stuff I left on the table that I wanted.
You know, who would like that? HOMEFIELD Apparel would love that.
I mean, I will. Yeah, they made. I'll put it this way: I avoided SEC teams. We're not playing favorites here. I don't want to get in trouble. If I had the SEC stuff as an option, my goodness, you think I had trouble making up my mind then? I mean, that would have been Pandora's box of, like, I might be still sitting here trying to place an order.
It makes me wonder, like, it probably is a good route if they go like conference only. Now, the SEC, I feel like we're the only conference that would like just buy a bunch of SEC swag, you know?
Yeah.
Like, do you think the Big Ten would really do that, or the ACC? Maybe, but if they made like awesome SEC stuff, and I'm sure that they would, yeah, we would dominate that too. By the way, Sam, get better. Like, you really had surgery?
Sam. Yeah, I got a private message into Sam to check on his well-being here. Yeah, so hopefully Sam's channel's not the same when Sam's not around. So
yeah, that is a fact without question.
All right, let's get into power. What are you munching on there?
You know what?
That's a first.
I got home for the first time. I got home for the first time since Tuesday, and I got in last night, and my wife very clearly just went to the grocery store. So she had like stuff still on the counter. It was like, I just grabbed something. I was like, I'm gonna eat this real quick. It's some kind of trail mix.
Oh, that's always a safe bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We start at the bottom. And I think these guys are playing pretty well, actually. Somebody's got to be 16. It's South Carolina. But the Gamecocks are really pitching well. I don't know what to do with the bottom 3 teams. I mean, there is a clear bottom 3 in my mind, and they've all got different selling points and issues. I guess Carolina's is that the 2 teams in front of them, one of them is playing extremely well, and the other one of them I just don't think can play a lot worse. And so Carolina kind of ended up there by default. But, I mean, there's a lot to like about them. And if the hitting picks up, I mean, there's a world in which this is a regional team.
You're talking about Carolina?
Yes, I am.
So coming into this, I picked them to have a winning record, mainly because I've touched on it a lot before the season started. Year 2 under Paul Mainieri, for whatever reason, like his teams make the jump. Year 2 at LSU, Omaha. When he was at Notre Dame, they won 44 games in his second season. Now Carolina's got a ways to go to reach that point, but like they have talent, Chris. Like we were touching on this last night. To me, they are very clearly built around their pitching staff. They got arms to work with, starting pitching wise, bullpen, closer. They got a lot of tools in the toolkit. Now, where they struggle is offense. It like where are they gonna get consistency 1 through 9, and then where are they going to get their power? Those are my questions for them. I watched a good bit of their series against Princeton, at least the first 2 games, and that was, I said it last night, but that's my main takeaway when I watch Carolina. Like offensively, where are they going to get their spark?
Yeah, and I think there's some sources. I just think comparatively, their offense is going to lag the rest of the league, but it's not a terrible offense either by any means.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they're not awful by any means, but just compared to some of these other teams that we have in the league, like I think we got a handful of teams that are going to be like top 10 in the country in offensive categories.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I think this is the toughest week I've had in sorting out teams. Like you think that you're going to get a little bit more clarity with more games, and right now you're not. It's just confusing me more in some ways. So, let's see, number 15. This is kind of shocking. To see it in print, but
did it happen?
It happened. And I don't think it's unfair. I mean, you could even – I think you could argue Vanderbilt anywhere from 14 to 16. This is kind of where we settled. Now, look, we have spent a lot of time dissecting the issues for Vanderbilt. If you look at Pythag record and you adjust it for run rules, they are and again, I'm not saying they are this team, but they should be closer to 14-3. Or than 10-7, but hey, you got to hit with runners in scoring position. You've got to throw strikes, and those are just things. And again, the path for Vanderbilt, they've dug themselves a hole. But again, they do not have Miller Green, who's maybe their best. They've thrown one lefty all year. They don't have Miller Green, who's probably one of the better long relievers in the league if it works out. They don't have Aiden Stillman, who was maybe a top 5 freshman. Neither of those guys have thrown a pitch. Austin Nye didn't throw this weekend. He's their best starter. We'll see if he's back for LSU. There's some room for Vanderbilt to get a lot better with health of pitchers, and I just don't think that their guys that they have could have thrown a lot worse in terms of control. But it is what it is. That's what happened. And you've got to rank them accordingly. I do think Vanderbilt's in a spot where they are really looking at an uphill climb just to make the tournament at this point. But there is a way for it to get better that involves health, which with pitchers, God knows what is or is not going to happen.
So what do you think Vanderbilt can do, to turn this around? Like what do they have, like realistic options to, kind of get the train back on the track, so to speak?
Well, I mean, it's getting those guys back. I don't know if Austin Nye will be back this weekend or not. They are very tight-lipped about injuries. You got a lot of their veterans in Cyber and Kranzler just have not been throwing strikes. And they've done better in the past. I mean, I think there is in hitting with runners in scoring position, like a lot of teams, LSU's going through it right now, I think, too. A lot of that's just dumb luck.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a good hitting team. They are just not. It's been for them lately. It's been a home run or it's been nothing. And I think that's likely to kind of course correct. But again, they have earned what they've earned, and like when you lose to North Dakota State, which had one win coming into the weekend, nobody wants to hear much about good luck or bad luck. It just is what it is.
They're second in the league in homers.
Yeah, behind Georgia, which is lapping the field.
Yes, they are. Well, Georgia leads the country. All I can think about is like, boy, this weekend series, Vanderbilt, LSU, this is a massive one. Like it feels weird to say it this early since it's the SEC opener, but it just feels like, whoever drops that series, just got a lot of work to do. So you talk
Yeah.
about a lot of storylines right out of the gates. That's a big one.
Well, and LSU's, well, we'll get to them in a minute. I'm not going to talk about LSU now until we get to their spot. And boy, that was interesting where the Tigers settled. Number 14, Missouri, which is not really played anybody, but is playing very well. Missouri had one of the most interesting weekends of baseball I remember. Missouri won a one-run game over Illinois Chicago on Thursday, Friday. I don't remember. These games moved around so much.
They remember that was one of the games was like a major delay. Like they literally
it was game 2. They were, and Missouri was
Okay.
now 12-4 leaving game 2, which it ended up winning on the restart.
Yeah. It took forever to complete. But they had a weird this series was all over the map this weekend for Mizzou.
Yeah. They're continuing to hit the ball. They've been one of the top scoring teams in the league, if not the country. Again, I think some of that is opposition. But I think the big thing for Missouri is they're starting to develop some pitching. Again, they are doing it against bad teams. But last year, these guys were, I say these guys, a lot of these guys are new. Missouri was not even pitching well against bad teams. But you look down and, Kellenbrink has been pretty good for them, better than the ERA. Pimental's been good on his healthy return. They're getting some help from J.D. Dorman and Luke Sullivan and all kinds of guys that are bullpen or midweek guys. Isaiah Salas has gotten better. Ian Lose has had a nice season on return. Things are looking up for them.
Yeah.
They haven't played a good team, but they have taken care of the business in front of them.
Well, to me, they are definitely built around the offense. So as a team, they're hitting 335. That's fifth in the league, and then they're second in the league in total hits. They only trail Georgia in hits. So I don't care who you play, those kind of jump out to me. But my main takeaway is like the new staff additions, and it just seems like they're just playing with a lot of confidence. They don't win these games a season ago. We touched on that last night. The fact that they were able to climb out of that hole, have to sit forever in the weather delay and come back and win that game. I've been impressed with Missouri, especially offensively. Now it's about to get real. How does that translate to SEC play? We'll find out here shortly, but you got to be pleasantly surprised with the start for Missouri this season.
Yeah. All right. Number 13, Tennessee. We talked about some kind of bad luck in the numbers for Vanderbilt. Again, when you're dropping a series to Kent State and losing game 3 to Wright State after winning a couple of one-run games, probably not what people want to hear. But I do think you look at the pitching, it's been really good. Tennessee just kind of can't catch a break at the right time. Feels like a lot of their runners that they give up are clustered. Like they'll dominate for 4 or 5 innings. Then they'll walk a guy, give up a couple singles and a home run or a double or something. Like cluster luck is kind of a thing in baseball. It feels like when Tennessee gives up base runners, they're scoring, and it just feels like they're not cashing in on their opportunities offensively.
I would agree. To me, like Tennessee, the strength of this team is pitching, and then offense has just got to get way better than what it is. So they are dead last in the league offensively. They're hitting 268 as a team. They're the only team in the league that doesn't have or they haven't scored 100 runs yet. Everybody else has scored at least 110 runs, and Tennessee is sitting at 95 runs scored. Don't really steal a lot of stolen bases, second fewest in the league. But to me, like for the Vols, it's all about figuring out their identity. It kind of seems like they're still searching for answers, maybe offensively 1 through 9. But pitching wise, I think they are in good shape. They're above the middle of the pack pitching wise, and then defense, they're top 5 defensively in the league. So, those are 2 things that you can work with, pitching and defense. Tennessee has those. It's just they got to get more consistent on offense.
Yeah, and you're going to get more out of Levi Clark just by accident at some point. I don't think there's a bad team I don't really think there's a bad team in the league right now, to be honest with you. You have some teams that are, playing great. You have some teams that aren't playing as well as they can and aren't catching breaks, and it'll all sort out when we get to the league. I still think there's a really good Tennessee team in here, and even one that could host. I think with their starting pitching.
Yeah, well, if we got the number 16 team in the league making the tournament, like it's a deep league.
Yeah. Let's go to 12, Kentucky. Some mixed signals on Kentucky, but let's start with a positive. I've got a dog storming the door of my office here. I need to go let him in.
I figured.
But Tyler Bell had a weekend after coming back. He played DH, but like hitting has been the issue for Kentucky for most of the year. Getting their best bat back is going to really help things.
It is, and he showed that this week. Started all 3 games at DH. I'll be curious to see if they put him back in the field here at some point. Just listening to Nick Mingione, it sounds like they want to take it easy with bringing Tyler Bell back defensively. When you look at the numbers for Kentucky, they are 10th pitching wise, and then the offense is, around the 10 or 11 range in the league as well. To me, what makes Kentucky unique, they just do things that other teams in this league don't. They lead the conference, 53 stolen bases. They got 12 sacrifice bunts. Guess who the next closest team in sacrifice bunts is?
Oklahoma.
Mizzou was 7.
Missouri. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the gap. Kentucky leads it, and then Mizzou is 5 behind them. So Kentucky, just their style of play works for them. They always seems to have a good time in the dugout. So they're gonna be tough to beat just because what they do is so different than everybody else in this league.
Yeah, it may just have been a bad weekend, but the pitching, the starting pitching in particular has been so good for them. They didn't get that this weekend. Jelkin was mortal. Harris was not good at all. And I don't know why Ben Cleaver's on such a restricted pitch count or whatever the situation is. Like Cleaver was a guy that last year you would get 5, 6, 7, even 8 innings out of him every start. It's been more 3 to 4 this year. The bullpen has not been good recently. Now, again, you get Tyler Bell back. He's the heart and soul of your team. He's not only your best player, he's your leader. And the bats have started to pick it up a little bit even without him. So I think it's kind of a weird spot for Kentucky where the thing that's been their strength is starting to fade a little bit. But the offense, and even without Bell, was starting to pick it up a bit. So Kentucky's been a little bit of a weird spot where I don't know where it's at. I always trust Nick Mingione to figure it out and get to a regional. But it's been a little – some of the things that we saw early that I loved about them, I'm not seeing as much lately.
I can ask around and kind of get the scoop on what's going on with Cleaver and a couple other things. Like obviously media right now, since we're in the month of March, Kentucky basketball is a big deal. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. Really?
So the media is like all honed in right now.
Are they a little unhappy?
Kentucky. You think? Just a little bit. Talk about a roller coaster.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, the Cats are at, what do we say, 12? And this again I think this team's better than we ranked them, but Florida comes in at 11 this week. And again, we were having the discussion. I was telling you, I think Florida might be ready to compete for that 2 spot. And then it goes out this weekend and just lays an egg and gets High Point. And frankly, should have been swept if High Point had anybody left in the bullpen who could throw strikes.
And again, what makes this so surprising is like this came out of left field, pun intended. Remember, they lost their first game of the year, then they won whatever, like 12 in a row, whatever. And then they just didn't play to their ability at all this weekend. And that's a High Point team. Like, I know they've been good here recently, but all their good players left. Like one of them is at LSU right now,
sitting the bench.
Yeah. So like this was It takes a lot to like shock and stun me, but like this was pretty close to it just because nobody had this happening. So they're still insanely talented, but I don't know if it was just one of these weekends where like they just overlooked High Point because they're just ready to get to SEC play. I don't know what it was, but they just didn't play well. Want to see how they respond, and also want to see what King looks like, health wise moving forward, because he's got the forearm soreness,
Yeah.
and those can be tricky.
Yeah, strikeout rate for him is down a little bit. Here's something kind of interesting. Brendan Lawson, who I think has got to be a top 5 SEC player of the year candidate, the way he's hitting, he's slugging almost 1,000. He's got 8 home runs. Nobody else on the team's got more than 4, which I would not have expected.
Yeah, me either. I'm looking at
So,
them. So they're middle of the pack right now, like dead middle in offense. And then when you look at them pitching, they're even lower. Like they're 11th in pitching. So fielding is okay, but they're too talented to look the way that they did this past
yeah,
weekend.
the pitching was not good at all this weekend. And again, I still think there's better stuff in there for them. But the Aiden King situation is obviously, that could make or break them, because like King and Peterson are going and shoving like they can. That's a team that can win as much as it wants, but if they're not, it can fall off quickly. So, number 10, Alabama, which just kind of quietly keeps taking care of business. Justin LeBron's got 8 home runs and 16 steals. I don't know if that may lead the league in steals. Is walking more than he's striking out. Their weekend arms have been pretty good. Bullpen depth is a little bit of a question to me, but Rob Vaughn's got his Alabama team playing really well as we're on the edge of conference play.
Yeah, he really does. I'm looking at Justin LeBron stolen bases. From what I can tell, he does lead the league in stolen bases. But again, this website is atrocious. So to me, my questions for Alabama offense. They are second to last in the league in offense. They don't hit a lot of doubles. Now they steal more bases than you would think. Like they're third in the league in stolen bases. So I kind of think their pitching and their defense has been, a little bit better than I was anticipating. And we know what Justin LeBron is. I want to see what they look like when they go on the road. And it
Yeah.
kind of sounds like that's what Rob Vaughn was curious about as well. But they're really kind of flying under the radar, it seems. And I bet Rob Vaughn and his staff loves that, just because they're winning all these games and it feels like they're flying under the radar. Not a ton of people are discussing them.
The 2 teams that I've had, I think, grouped with each other all year more than any other 2 teams, and let me check to see where I ranked them, because I think I was probably one. Yeah, I was. I had Alabama 12 and Kentucky 13, and again, we're in that pack of teams. It's just really tough to know what to do with. But like, I don't think I've had a ranking yet where I didn't have those 2 teams side by side in some order. And it's kind of hard to avoid that comparison, because stylistically, they're both so much alike. You mentioned the steals. I think they are the top 2 teams in the league with steals. Kentucky's stolen 53. I'm sorry, Oklahoma's stolen 49. And Alabama stolen 38. The difference offensively is Alabama, I think, is walking a good bit more than Kentucky. They are taking a lot of pitches, which that's very unlike Kentucky. Kentucky's got the lowest walk rate in the league, which I would not have expected. Offensively or defensively, like they're both giving up some runners. Kentucky keeps the ball in the park a little bit more. I feel like those 2 teams are just like, pick one. They're kind of very even, but they're, very similarly built in terms of how they generate offense.
Yes, they really are. To me, Bama's going to be interesting to watch. And then, like, I don't know. It'll get to the point for me. Like if he keeps winning at that level, like how long will he stay there?
Yeah. I mean, in any smart AD who thinks he's going to have a baseball opening is going to have Rob Vaughn on a short list. I just think he's done a tremendous job there.
Yeah, without question.
Not that I'm
No
wishing for him to leave Alabama because I like the place he's got that program in. It's Alabama baseball really since Wells stepped down, late 90s, early 2000s, it's just been kind of hit and miss. I feel like Rob Vaughn's had them steady since he's been there.
Well, first of all, Jim Wells was there forever, like a long time, and he kind of got taken for granted. They were never really awful under him. And, they made runs in the SEC tournament and, they were consistently in the postseason. And then did he retire? I can't remember, but
I think.
he steps down. And then, like you said, they've been hit or miss, and they've had off the field stuff too.
Yeah. All right. Time for a super chat. Josh is not happy with our rankings. Points out strength of schedules. LSU 197, Vandy 253, Georgia 237. I think Vandy and LSU will both tick up in strength of schedule. Vanderbilt's played some good teams. I don't really understand how they've gotten to that strength of schedule number, but it is what it is. I mean, the RPI right now is going to sort itself out. Josh thinks Tennessee will go meet Georgia in Athens. I think it's possible. I think we got a lot of good weekend series coming up.
I mean, look, he's the strength of schedule, like the numbers are the numbers. Like can't really disagree with that. But he's upset about the LSU part of it here, and we'll touch on LSU here in a minute. But it's like it's going to take a lot for me to doubt a team that has won 2 out of the last 3 natties.
Yeah,
and we haven't played an SEC game yet. Have they looked like everybody thought they would? No, of course not. But to give up on them at this point, I just think that is crazy talk.
Yeah, I do too. All right, let's get to where are we? Number 9, LSU at 9.
And here we go.
Yeah, and look, if there's not LSU on that jersey, they're lower.
Yeah, without
4
question.
games out of 5 this week, all to non-power 4. But there's a better team in there than we're seeing. I mean, there's too much talent on that team to be this as bad as they were this last week.
And look, the chat's already buzzing and hopping right here. Henry Wilkins, this is a whole new team. You can't compare this team with the teams the last 3 years. Yeah, that's fair, but wouldn't you say they've earned the benefit of the doubt? Just like Alabama football with Nick Saban, whoever, like Tennessee women's basketball,
yeah.
Some teams earn the benefit of the doubt. Why? Because it's the laundry and the history. And to me, LSU baseball falls into there. Again, I don't think it's been as good or as bad as everybody's making it seem for LSU. Yes, they have a ton of work to do. I don't think really anybody anticipated them to look like this. I sent you that tweet last night, Chris. Did you see it?
I haven't yet.
Matt Moscona had it.
Oh, yeah.
LSU hasn't lost this many non-conference games to a group of 4 teams since 2007. 2007, and they didn't make the dance that year. So was that Smoke? Was that Smoke's last year, or that might have been Paul's first year?
2007. It would have been right. It would have been one of the two.
So it was either Paul's first year or the tail end of Smoke. But either way, so now that did catch my attention when Matt Moscona had that, because he would definitely know. But I think my main takeaway for LSU, I just think it would be silly to hit the panic button and then just be like, I'm out before a single SEC game.
All right. Expected winning percentage or Pythag winning percentage. It's a big stat in Major League Baseball. Don't see it as much in college baseball, and I think it's harder to put as much stock in because the variance, you can really bump your numbers by beating awful teams. But any guesses to the lowest 2 teams in the league for Pythag win percentage if you adjust for runs scored and runs allowed?
The lowest.
The two worst.
Well, I'm assuming LSU's got to be one of them, right?
LSU's 15 at 762. Tennessee is 16 at 758.
Yeah, I was trying to think of teams with a lot of losses. South Carolina would have been my other guess since they got more losses than anybody.
Yeah, and Tennessee's also the team that's probably lowest on should have scored more runs than it has. LSU's kind of on the other end of that. Like there's a little bit of noise in the offense, which is a little concerning. So anyway, just kind of interesting. It's going to even out in time, but yeah, that's your 15 and 16 in that stat for whatever it's worth. So, yeah, I think that the starting pitching to me was disappointing again. Case and Evans just can't catch a break. He's better than that. Schmidt wasn't great again. I don't know if they're starting to overuse Gavin Guidry, maybe. But after just being unhittable lately, he's been more ordinary. And again, they just don't – they got plenty of arms, but it just – guys are not stepping up for them. I mean, you know how much I love Zach Cowan. Yeah. He's pitched, 4 innings this year, and they haven't been good. Gosh, they went to Garcia last night late in that game. He was supposed to be one of your top reliever transfers in the country from Oregon. He's been bad. There's so many arms. I keep saying this. They've got so many arms. I think it's going to work itself out. But I'm getting a little concerned that more guys aren't stepping up and really pitching the way that I thought they would for LSU.
Yeah, I think the pitching has got to be more concerning up to this point, don't you think? Like they are dead last in the SEC. They're the only team with an ERA over 4.
Yeah.
Now,
well, like here's the other issue. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, now they get a ton of strikeouts. They lead the league in strikeouts, but it's just it hasn't been consistent. Like they give up runs. They'll give up the big hit here or there. To me, it's been the pitching, which has been the most surprising, and the defense. They got the worst defense in the league as well. So when you're dead last in pitching and defense, I mean, you can see why it's been the roller coaster it has been up to this point.
Yeah, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams in the league that allow more than 4 runs per 9 innings. That's not earned run average. That just runs per game, which includes the unearned. Alabama at 4.4, Florida 4.7, LSU 4.9, Missouri 4.3, and Vanderbilt 4.3.
Would you agree? Like it's been the pitching that's been.
Well, I mean that in defense, batting average on balls in play, your 2 worst marks: LSU 325, Florida 347.
Only South Carolina has more errors than LSU, but LSU's got a worse fielding percentage.
Yeah, I mean, in defenses, errors are just kind of weird in college baseball. A lot of them don't get charged. It would get charged at the pro level. But a lot of that defense is just getting the balls and making plays. Ole Miss up there at 325 too. And you've talked about their defense being an issue. Best team on batting average on balls in play. You get one guess. I want to see if you can get it.
Best team batting average balls on play.
Think of teams that usually defend pretty well.
Arkansas.
Bingo, 261.
Okay. Always a mainstay with the Dave Van Horn team.
Yep. Death taxes, and they're going to defend a little bit.
Yeah.
So let's get to, before we get to number 8, let's get to paying some bills here. Man, we got some good sponsors, and we got a new one today. We'll get to them last. But let's start with our friends at ROKFORM. They make the world's strongest magnetic phone case. It is durable. That magnet is extremely powerful. Get the vent clip and the phone case for your car like I've got, and you're going to love it. Tell folks a little bit more about ROKFORM and where they can get their discount.
Yeah, so right here, this is what they're known for. That magnet on the back of a case. Case is a little bit heavier, and It doesn't phase me at all because it's durable, it's strong, it's going to last forever. They got different colors, different styles. If you're a Samsung Galaxy person, an iPhone person, they got you covered. They also make great accessories. So, like if you want a portable speaker, they make portable speakers as well. So, been a big fan of ROKFORM for a while. Absolutely love it. Your phone is going to be perfectly safe in a ROKFORM case. Promo code SEC25 for 25% off.
Yeah, love our stuff. Dropped my phone last week on pavement. It's like nothing ever happened, and it will be the same for you. All right, got a big week ahead at the SEC basketball tournament in Nashville. I'll be at that. I think I'll be there all 5 days, and I'll be wearing my end collar stuff.
Look at that transition.
Which will be comfortable. It'll look great. I mean, they are my new favorite dress and casual type clothes, and they'll be yours too once you give them a try.
Yeah, and so we're approaching springtime. I don't know when spring officially begins, but we're knocking on the door of it, which means And Collar is going to drop their new spring clothing line here just in the days ahead. So if you're in the market for like quarter zips, button down shirts, again, they make ties and pants too. What are they known for? Wrinkle free, stain free. I love them. Been a fan for a very long time, but definitely check them out. Promo code SEC16 for 16% off. Spring gear coming soon for And Collar.
Spring doesn't begin till the 20th of March officially, but I've always kind of thought, I see it like winter is December, January, February. Spring is March, April, May. Summer is June, July, August. Fall is September, October, November. Although feels like September is still summer around these parts.
Yeah, I get thrown off. Like the fact that the time changed over the weekend, like I'm over that. Can we just pick a time and stick with it, please?
Yeah, no kidding. I'd be happy to do that too. Tell us about Icon Wallets. That's my new favorite wallet. By the way, did we give the promo code for ROKFORM?
Yes, ROKFORM SEC25 for 25% off.
I mean, for And Collar.
And Collar is SEC16 for 16% off.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like it if you pay full price, and same with the ROKFORM. But we'll give you that to help you along your way with your order, and promise you order those two companies you're going to love. You're also going to love your Icon Wallet. It's a mini wallet. Love it much more than the one I had. It fits all the stuff in there. It fits better. It looks better. Like you're going to love your Icon Wallet if you order one, which I hope you will.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So you see, these are two different colors. They got more colors than these, different styles as well. They're thin. They last forever. They look good. Here's what they're known for. They're working on getting all the SEC teams. So I know we've had Tennessee fans and Texas fans ask. They're working on it. I'll definitely keep you updated. But father-son company, they make really, really phenomenal wallets. Been a fan, and I love the fact that, you can just put it in your back pocket and, it doesn't feel like you got a brick in your back pocket.
Yeah. And it's Icon ICON dash wallets. So when you're trying to find them online, don't forget that dash and use that discount code too. All right. New sponsor, ZILKER belts. They make a lot of stuff other than belts. So I'll be ordering my stuff today to use their product firsthand, but I know you love them. Tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, so these are two SEC grads. We got a Texas Longhorn and a Florida Gator. They are based out of the great state of Texas. So they're in the heart of the Lone Star State in Austin. They're known for their belts. That's their bread and butter, but they also make dog collars, dog leashes. They make hats, a little bit of everything, but their belts are phenomenal. So whatever your favorite team is, like if you go on their website, they got your color coordinated. You're ready to go. So if you're an Auburn fan, you got the navy blue and orange, Tennessee, the orange and white, whatever the case may be. So the Ole Miss one is called the Land Shark. I have it. I wear it, when I'm doing an Ole Miss game and everything. Absolutely love them. Highly recommend you to check them out. Their belts look great and they last forever. That promo code is Southeastern 16 for 25% off.
Yeah, they make great stuff. From just looking at their things online. Very durable. Can't wait to get mine too. Oreo's going to get a new dog collar shortly. He doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, he'll look good. What colors you gonna pick? Do you know?
I don't know. I'll figure it out. But getting the collar
gotta,
on him is going to be the issue. I mean, I might. There's a good chance he'll draw blood.
You got to do black and white for Oreo, right?
Well, sure. Why not? That makes sense.
There
He's having
you
a
go.
morning over here,
hanging out on the couch.
All right, back to baseball. Actually, he's in the floor at the moment. Probably hear him behind me. All right, number 8, Ole Miss just continues to be solid. Starting pitching continues to be very good. Defense is the Achilles heel, but they are hitting home runs. Judd Udemark is on a record pace. And again, the starting pitching is right now is as good as it's been at Ole Miss. Probably since the Elliott and Nikhazy combo when they won the Natty.
Nikhazy wasn't on that team.
He wasn't?
I wish he would have been. Who
am I thinking? Who was there too?
Oh man, why am I going blank right now? Nikhazy was Gunnar Hoagland and Nikhazy.
Okay.
Remember Hoagland got hurt. That's when Ole Miss played Jay Johnson when he was at Arizona, and Arizona went to Omaha in that super regional matchup. So yeah, Nikhazy, unfortunately for him, he missed Omaha, and then Elliott, that was his true freshman season when Ole Miss won the Natty. So
they rode 2 guys that year. It was Elliott and somebody else.
Oh, it was Dylan DeLucia. Yeah, thank you.
That's right. Who popped up out of kind of not out of nowhere, but like we weren't.
By the way, he started over the weekend for Italy in the World Baseball Classic. How about that? Yeah,
about that.
So I thought that was a big opportunity for him. So yeah, touching on Ole Miss, like we got a handful of Ole Miss fans in here. How you doing? And Cole Patrick, good to see y'all, by the way. So Cole Patrick is asking, is Townsend the best starter in the SEC?
He's in the
his numbers, like he's got video game like numbers right now. So he's definitely living up to his potential, and he has been phenomenal. But to me, like, yes, the thing with Ole Miss offense, especially the home run ball, 35 home runs, like stealing a little bit more bases than I thought up to this point, like over 20. To me, like, just the question mark is going to be the defense. Now they've gotten a little bit better. They're sitting at 14th in the conference. Like only South Carolina, LSU is behind Ole Miss. Ole Miss still has committed 18 errors, though. Want to see what that looks like moving forward. The good news for Ole Miss, like Daniel Pasella kind of got going, this past week. That was a big time get in the transfer portal. Like if that guy can, flip the switch and get going, like that'll be a big boost for the Rebels. Also meant to mention this last night. Will Furness yesterday got hit in the ear hole, Chris.
I saw that.
Like if you saw the picture, there's a great picture. Like you see it, and then like a chunk of his helmet is like, flying off. So the good news is like he passed concussion protocol. He's good to go, but definitely a scary moment yesterday. But meant to mention that last night. But this is a critical week for Ole Miss. You got Southern Miss and then Texas. So huge week for the Rebels.
Do you know who Ole Miss's most productive hitter has been so far?
Probably. Is it Colin Reuter?
Hey, excellent guess. And that's also it.
Yeah. So he's Mississippi kid, BYU transfer. His uncle's the head coach at BYU, which is why he went there. Second season in the program, played a little bit last year, but obviously getting way more opportunities. And Chris, like it's getting to the point where like he's hitting it so well right now, like you just can't take him out of the lineup.
Is it Reuter or Reuter?
Reuter.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from like 45 minutes away from Oxford.
And you said he went to BYU?
Yes.
How did that happen?
His uncle's the head coach at BYU.
Oh, well, there's that.
Yeah, so that's how that happened. Getting questions like, is Townsend the Friday night starter? like the numbers would prove the point, but like I can't living in Oxford and it's a big deal for Hunter Elliott. Like that guy will never have to buy a drink, around town and everything just with what he's done in his career. Like it would take a lot to not have Hunter Elliott start on Friday nights at Ole Miss.
Yeah, I don't think you mess with what's working.
Yeah.
And somebody was talking about, who was it? Foley needs to get some luck on hits. Yeah, I mean he does. He's hitting 240 on balls in play. But that's not
so
going to last
so
as
with
hard as he hits it.
with him, like over 20 home runs last year, there is a ton of swing and miss there. He definitely has the power. He's just gonna have to be more consistent. And like for Ole Miss to get to where they want to go, like he's gonna have to start to get on base more.
Number 7. Who is number 7? I've got Florida on the banner, and I know it's not Florida.
Uh-oh. So what do we do?
This is what happens when you put your banners up right when you're going to air.
Putting you on the spot.
Wait, what do we... Okay, I've goofed. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong week. That explains it. Okay. Get it together, man. Okay, I disagree with this one. Maybe it's why I just subconsciously didn't put it up, because I think we screwed this one up.
I'm curious who it is.
Arkansas. I mean, I have a strong disagreement with this one.
I'm trying to see where I put them, because this feels low.
It is low.
Where did you have them?
I had them 5. Let me just make sure I
had them 5 too.
Yeah, well, that indicts another one of our voters here who shall remain nameless. I'm gonna make sure I read this right, because I think I saw this and I was like, wait a minute, yeah. I mean the rankings are what they are. We tally the votes and it spits out where they rank. But I mean, Arkansas is, the hitting is very uneven. We've said this all year. But I mean, let me just give you this, and it's arbitrary. But you take a top 6 or 7 arms. I mean, who are you trading their group of? Fisher, Gackle, Dietz, Gibbler, Tate McGuire, maybe Ethan McElvain's in that discussion. Those guys are just dominating. And you don't need to score many runs to win games the way they pitch, which is a good thing because they're not scoring many runs with any consistency. But I just think they are so loud on the mound and so dominant that they are a team that could get back to Omaha with that pitching if they stay healthy, which has been an issue for them in recent years, but so far so good.
What do you make of the fact that they have surrendered the most home runs of anybody?
I think you look at the teams that played in Arlington a weekend with a ball, which is weird. Like, you don't think in a pro park home runs are favorable. It's not favorable to home runs. It's a better way to say it. But Mississippi State, Arkansas, and Vanderbilt all played in Arlington for a weekend. And I think those are the 3 highest home run yielding. No, I'm sorry. A&M has slipped in there too. But I think a common denominator here, Arkansas throws a ton of strikes. State's decent at it. Vanderbilt's a separate issue. I think sometimes when you're around the plate and you throw it hard like Arkansas does, somebody gets a bat on it and it goes a long way. That's the downside of throwing hard. I don't think there's any more to it than that.
Got you.
Because they don't give up an inordinate amount of fly balls.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here. They've only given up 2 sack flies all season. But yeah, the strength of this team is definitely the pitching. I think the offense will come around. I mean, I do. I just think they got too many dudes in that lineup. But yes, Arkansas is going to be just fine, especially in Baum Walker. Very, very tough place to play. If you've never been to a game there, you definitely need to go and check it out. But yeah, I think you and I are definitely high on the Hogs.
Yeah, I mean it's Kojal and Helfrich have just carried them so far. Aloy's hit since he's come back from the shoulder injury, so I'd throw him in there too. And Ruiz has hit pretty well, but again, the bottom of the order just been lousy. Maybe they get a little bit more out of Carson Brumball. It would be hard to get less. TJ Pompey hit a home run last week. Maybe that gets him going. But that's like there's no question where their strengths and weaknesses are. They're like everything's a strength except the bottom of that lineup.
Yeah. But there's still time, right? So, they can get a little bit more consistent in the bottom portion of that lineup. But again, Arkansas, as long as Van Horn is there, they're going to be a tough out.
Oklahoma is 6, still riding that first weekend of the year when they played so well, and really not a lot of reason to drop them. If you want to pick nits with Oklahoma, I would say that they're putting some guys on base maybe that they shouldn't, but they're keeping it in the park. They're pitching well with guys on base. We've talked about the lineup and how good they've been. And Walk and Branch can give them more than they've been given, but like 1-7, they're just a nightmare to pitch to right now.
Yes, they are. I kind of think Oklahoma and a team we haven't touched on yet got to be like the best pleasant surprises so far up to this point. I've been really pleased just watching Oklahoma. I enjoy watching them play, just like what they're all about. They are 9th in the conference offensively. Now, they're not going to smack a lot of home runs, but they hit, it feels like a million doubles. Like they're 4th in the league in doubles, tons of stolen bases, 2nd most stolen bases, only behind Kentucky. Defense is good enough. But yes, Oklahoma is going to win a lot of games this season.
Yeah, actually, we had a voting tie between A&M and Oklahoma. So we'll go ahead and get to A&M. I think A&M, let's see. Who got the highest vote? A&M got the highest vote. So technically, if we're going to use that as a tiebreaker, A&M would be 5. But before we get to A&M, I want to mention something. We talked about the Player of the Year conversation, or the Pitcher of the Year conversation. We don't spend a lot of time talking about LJ Mercurius, but have you seen his numbers, man?
Oh, yeah, video game numbers.
Yeah, and like I think right now he's the Pitcher of the Year. As good as Cade Townsend's been, I think he's been a little bit better.
You think so?
Maybe. I mean, he's got a .39 ERA. What's Townsend's?
I mean, he's under 1 for sure.
Townsend is .80. I'm sorry, .48. Mercurius has given up a few less runners. Townsend's got a better strikeout rate, 44 to 40%. Neither of them walk a lot of guys. Mercurius has not given up a home run, and Townsend hasn't either. So
here's what I like about Texas A&M. They are the only team in the SEC that is their top 5 in all 3 aspects: offense, pitching, and defense. So, that kind of gives you an idea of, just how well they're playing. Just what a difference a year makes. It just seems like Early is way more comfortable. I like the new additions that he brought into his staff, and they're not all the way there 100% healthy, and they're still doing this. So here we go right here in the chat. Early said today Hakopian and Jordan are likely to be available this weekend at Oklahoma.
Goodness. And Jordan was their best hitter statistically until he got hurt.
Yeah. So talk about a big boost coming for A&M. And to me,
And
like up to this point, this is one of the stories in the SEC, just the turnaround for the Aggies.
well, I mean, it's Terrence Keel has hit the way I thought he could. The newcomers, Partita and Kellner, have been tremendous. Caden Sorrell's been healthy for the most part, and he's hit like Caden Sorrell hits when he's healthy. The bullpen has been pretty good. The rotation's been really good, other than Moss, who's leaked a little bit lately. But Sadeo and Sims have been just lights out. I mean, they're in that pitcher of the year conversation too. If you want to look at things I'm a little concerned about, they are giving up more fly balls, I think, than anybody in the league. And I think it's by a pretty substantial margin. So, let's see. Yeah, I mean, 26% of their pitching outs are coming in the air. The next closest would be Kentucky 20, Missouri 20, and South Carolina 21. So, I mean, it's going to get warmer. The ball's going to carry a lot of places. That and the depth are things to kind of watch for. But based on what they've done, and as you said, they've had two of their better hitters have been sidelined for a good bit of the year. I mean, I was bullish on A&M before the year, and like there's nothing that's happened that's really caused me to waver on that.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody's made a bigger jump in our power rankings than A&M from the very first one we did to where we are right now. I mean, they are trending up.
Yeah, I mean they're looking really, really good. I said before the season we did our bold predictions. I said A&M and Omaha is one of mine. I don't know that bold predictions are not necessarily things that you think could happen or will happen, but they're things that you can see based on circumstances, and they catch some breaks that could happen. Well, A&M hasn't caught breaks in some ways with those two hitters hurt, and they're still chucking a lot. Is they the only one-loss team at this point? I think they are. Yeah. Texas is unbeaten. Of course, we'll get to the Longhorns in a little bit, but how about the state of Texas? The SEC portion going 29-1 so far.
Yeah. Good to be in the Lone Star State.
No doubt. Okay, we'll get to I think I got these mixed up too. Okay.
Looks like
number 4. Go ahead.
I was going to say the power rankings has a winning record over us today.
Yeah, no kidding. This is what happens when you don't put them in before you do the show. You're scrambling. Georgia. I don't really know what to do with Georgia. Georgia has played one road game at Kennesaw State. Georgia, I mean, the power numbers are unbelievable. The pitching's been good. I mean, Georgia is the most statistically dominant team in the league, all things considered so far. But, playing in your ballpark, not having to travel, not playing a particularly strong schedule, we'll see what that looks like when the competition gets tougher, which, even with Tennessee, which is not going to be a pushover, that's in Athens this weekend.
Yeah, so you mentioned the power numbers. So Georgia, they hit, I'm trying to do the math here. They hit over 15 home runs this past week. 15. So yeah, they by far lead the conference and the country in home runs. Vandy was number 2 in the country coming into this weekend, and Georgia hit over 15. So they're hitting 353 as a team. And again, it to me, it's just a combination of like they're at home. It's a tough place to play. And then like the strength of schedule hasn't been, not like what some of these other teams have had. It hasn't been the most challenging. And, we touched on this last night. Like they're kind of like, we know they're good, but you kind of want to see them kick it up a notch against competition, and they will starting this weekend. But what makes them good? They got the best defense in the league, Chris. They've only committed 5 errors up to this point. They've already turned 14 double plays. So if you hit as well as they do and you play good defense, which is what they've been doing, you earn a spot in our top 4.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm ready to anoint them best defense in the league yet, but statistically, if those are the stats, they just are. They were pretty happy in the offseason about like they felt they had some position versatility. And I think you're starting to see that. They can, Wes Johnson always likes to mix and match anyway. They get a ton of players in the portal. They platoon a lot. And when you have defensive flexibility the way they've got, you can throw guys different places. But here's the let's see. Just some runs created for 27 outs. The Bill James formula. Here's what the hitters are doing. Trey Phelps, 18.1. Daniel Jackson, 19 flat. Colby Branch, 10-9. Henry Allen, who we haven't talked about much at all. He's at 7 homers. He's slugging 986, 17.9. Ryan Black, 10.4. Brendan Hudson, 19.3. Another guy we haven't talked about. He's a platoon lefty for them. I could go down because the numbers are pretty loud, but like Georgia's got so much in terms of handedness hitting wise and lineup flexibility. I don't know what the lineup's going to look like day in and day out, but they are a nightmare to pitch to.
Yes, they are. And one thing we haven't touched on yet, they're top 10 in doubles as well. So you lead the country in home runs, and then you're top 10 in doubles. Phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, they just got so much. Do we know an ETA on Ishikawa?
I'm sure Wes will get asked about it this week, but when he went down, the game plan was for him to be back available by SEC play. So I hope so, because I want to see what he looks like in this league.
Yeah, questions about Foley Field. Texas Rock says Georgia plays on a softball field. That's a little much. It's a short porch to right, but the weird thing about that park is I think it may be even 350 to left. Like it's a long way out there, but like the wind is always blowing stuff towards the trees.
350 to left, 404 to center, 314 to right field. Power
and it almost carries better to left than it does to right. It's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
So
power alleys are 370. So
yeah,
but you don't see a lot of ballparks with that weird dimensions. Like down one line is way further than the other one.
You've been to a game in Athens, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
place to watch a game.
It is, especially since they redid it.
I haven't been since they redid it. It was beautiful before they redid it. So
it's kind of it's very similar to Swayze Field, and like it's kind of like down in a hole. Like there's not a lot of space where they put it, and which made it tough for them to like do the renovation. But they have certainly made the most out of the real estate that they have.
Okay, here's where it gets interesting. We got Auburn at 3. I think Auburn's got a good argument for 2. In fact, I think that's how I voted them. I was torn between them and Mississippi State.
So what's if you had them above State, like what made you want to put them in the 2 spot?
I think their underlying pitching numbers have been a little bit better.
Yeah,
just the deeper dive on the stats, and that's why I'm not looking at records and stuff all the time. And I do look at who you beat because that matters, but I'm looking at the sheet of stuff I've got. I've got an absurd amount of data, but I think one thing that stood out to me: free pass rate for Auburn, 8.4%. That is the lowest in league, other than A&M, which is 6.6%. Strikeout rate, 33.1%. That's one of the top ones in the league. The hitting, as we said, is picking up. Rembert's back. Auburn's kind of been one of those teams that suffered a little bit from, not hitting at the right times. That's picking up a little bit. They don't strike out a lot. I just think they're an outstanding baseball team.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I just really enjoy watching them play. We knew their offense would be good, right? I mean, everybody was pretty high on them, but kind of what the pleasant surprise has been is their pitching has just been as good as it has been. up to this point. And when you look at it, like they're pretty consistently number 3 in several different categories pitching wise. They've given up the second fewest amount of home runs in the league. They just have been really, really, really in control. So if their offense stays consistent, which I kind of anticipate that it will all season, and if the pitching stays at this level, they're going to win a whole bunch of ball games. Like they are in phenomenal shape heading into SEC play.
Yeah, and again, this is we speak of teams leaving something on the table. Like the McCrane kids have been their best hitters so far outside of Chase Fralick. Didn't think we'd be saying that. I thought Cade Ballou would step up and have a big year. He's had a miserable year right now. He's hitting $125 with 1 RBI. He could always pick it up. He's a legit pro prospect. We talked about Rembert missing almost half the year so far. But Bub Terrell I think he's cooled off a little bit, but he's just really talented. Ethan Bingaman's given them something. Bristol Carter's had a really nice year. Like they've got a bench. Like Todd Clay was really good at UAB a year ago. He's hit nothing for them and was good in the fall from what I remember. Like offense has been where they've been relatively weak, but there's potential for a lot of the guys that they have that I thought would be dudes for them to pick it up. And then you look at, my guy Christian Chatterton's been really good out of the pen. I thought he'd start. He's found a role. Sanders, Marciano, and Petrovic has been as good as any 1, 2, 3 in the league. Not only are the ERA is good, they've been durable. I just think there's a lot of parts there for them. Garrett Brewer in the bullpen. Just so many pieces there to work with. And again, this is not a team that's been whole for most of the year.
You mentioned Bub Terrell, by the way. His numbers, he's hitting 350 with 10 RBIs. So, like, if he's not playing to his ability, like, you would definitely take him hitting 350. He's one of 3 guys in the lineup, by the way, that has started every game, along with Eric Guevara started every game, and then Fralick has as well. Up to this point, but your top 3 hitters are hitting above 400. They're just too talented offensively. So I kind of think the surprising thing when you look at their offensive numbers, they've only hit 15 home runs. I kind of think once we get going, those numbers will tick up some too.
Yeah, I believe so too. But very, very good team. I was high on them coming into the year, and now that I've seen them play, I think I'm even more bullish on Auburn than I was before. Number 2, Mississippi State. I don't think you could have possibly ranked State lower than 1 or lower than 3. I don't think you can rank them 1 yet because they've lost 2 and Texas has lost 1. But again, the runs these guys are scoring right now, it is insane.
Yeah, I felt bad for your alma mater this weekend.
Oh, come on, man. We love you here at the channel, Brian O'Connor, but take it easy on my biases. Okay?
They were just out of their league this weekend at Mississippi State. The offensive numbers for this team are just ridiculous right now. So they lead the league in doubles. And then, they're pretty aggressive on the bases as well. Like they're 4th in the league in stolen bases, but the eye-popping number as a team hitting 356, which paves the way in the SEC. Ace Reese leads the league in doubles. He already has 10 doubles this season. He's definitely the engine and kind of the heart and soul of what they do, but they are just insanely talented offensively, and they've been good going on the mound. And like when you look at their numbers pitching wise, like they're 12th in team ERA. They're going to be towards the top in strikeouts, like they're top 4 in strikeouts on the mound. And then the other thing, like they're 4th in team defense. So, your top 4 and 2 out of the 3 main areas. But to me, like offense is what separates them from so many other people in the league. Like they are just going to be insanely fun to watch offensively all season long.
Noah Sullivan could be your SEC Player of the Week when it comes out today. We'll see. They probably sent them out already.
Let me look.
Yo's been really. Reed Stallman's been really good for them in the platoon role too.
So he and like he's been banged up, Chris. Like O'Connor was touching about him the other day. Like his foot's all messed up. So like he's nowhere near 100%, and like he's still playing at this high level. Like that's why O'Connor was talking the other day. Like he got a base hit and like he couldn't stretch it into a double because like his foot's messed up right now. So he had to be content with a single. But the fact that guy's playing at such a high level and he's nowhere near 100% is just, kind of tells you, number one, their mindset and his mindset, but number two, just how many weapons they have in that lineup.
Yeah, they are on a per inning basis or per nine innings. They're the second highest scoring team in the league. Georgia 13.6, they're 12.4. Then you get into kind of a mismatch of teams. You got Missouri 12 flat. And let's see, who's after that? A&M at 11.8, Texas at 11.6, Oklahoma 11.4. Then you got a few teams in the nines. But those are your high-scoring teams per inning, which, again, I don't know why we're not doing more of this. There's so many run rule games that the teams are getting shorted, 3 whole offensive trips. So,
yeah. Your Lipscomb, catching strays in the chat here.
What did Lipscomb ever do to anyone?
So you remember I brought this up the other day, like Bisons with an S. It's already that's
already bad.
Plural. Why are we throwing an S on there?
I can't defend that. It's probably not good when your degree is from a place where they got a grammatical error in their nickname.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a good school. I had a good time there.
When you were there, did anybody bring up the fact, like, why is there an S on the end of Bison?
Graham, those are not the things you think about when you're in college. You know better.
That is a very good point.
So, I mean, stuff about State there's a little bit of noise in their offense. Probably hitting extraordinarily well with runners in scoring positions, part of it. They walk almost as much as they strike out. I think their Achilles heel right now is they're pitching after their first 5 or 6 guys. It's gotten a little messy with runners at times. But, the top of that rotation with McPherson and Stone and Valencius has pitched well, and Ben Davis is kind of can be a mid-game, late-game eraser. Foster hasn't been good, but he can pitch better. I think that's the thing. I think when you get into the 7, 8, 9, 10 arms, production-wise, maybe it hasn't matched up with some teams, but they've been so far out ahead that you can maybe save your Tyler Pitzers and some other guys. And it's like what, you got a lot of your older coaches in the league do this, right? Your Tim Corbins, your Jay Johnsons, they'll give guys a shot and let them kind of wreck your ERA a little bit in order to see what do you have when we get to May and June.
Yeah. To me, State's going to be a problem just because their offense is going to allow them to be in so many different games this year.
The map jokes continue from last night. I don't know what I did to deserve that. What have I done here? Because I didn't realize that Norman was further south than Nashville, I think is where it started.
Yeah, well, I didn't catch it. Dan was saying you said Norman is the Midwest, which I didn't hear that. You might have said it. I didn't hear it. But
I consider Norman the Midwest. Do you not?
Not really.
What? What do you consider Norman?
Southwest.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Texas. If we're distinguishing, but I'm thinking like climate, like it's windy, it's cold.
Yeah, maybe, but that was funny last night. I wasn't banking on geography jokes in the chat.
I wasn't either. Or
Yeah,
being the butt of
Randy
them.
says not at all. Doesn't consider it. You got to remember, like OKC is not that far from Dallas. Like it really isn't. I've made that drive before.
Okay. Let's see. Annual
See, when you
temperature.
say Midwest, I think like Ohio, Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin. That's what I think of.
Well, I guess I'm also thinking back to the old, Big 12 days and thinking the plains in Kansas and, like if you drive that area of the country, there's a lot of open space and it can get really cold at times. Yeah, I didn't know we were going to get into a weather and geography chat here, but I'll own it. We'll call.
West.
So are we say Oklahoma is southwest? Is that where we're going with?
That's what I would say. Let's like Wes is in Oklahoma. Like what would you consider it, Wes? He says if Oklahoma's Midwest, then Arkansas is a Big Ten school.
Well, we're not debating Arkansas. Like, I'm how cold? How much snow did you get this winter, Wes? I need to know. If we can answer that, maybe I'll have a better idea.
Yeah, I always lean on the locals. What do the locals consider it? As somebody that's been to Norman a good amount over the years, like I've never gotten there and been like, this feels like the Midwest. Like that has never crossed my mind. And West says south, exclamation point in the chat.
Okay, I'm going to look up temperatures here. I just maybe I have this thing in my head where Norman is colder than I thought, or not as cold as I thought.
I don't know. Like in the league, the coldest spots I've been, Columbia. I've literally been snowed in a hotel in Columbia, Missouri for a week. The Florida men's basketball team and the Ole Miss women's basketball team, we were trapped in the same hotel, a DoubleTree in downtown Columbia for a week because there was so much snow. And then the other one is Lexington. There's Lexington can get cold.
Okay. Okay. Average temperature, highs and lows in Norman. 50 is the high for January. 31 is the low. 59 is the average high. I guess that's for this year. 37 is the low. I apologize to the city of Norman, the University of Oklahoma. I made you colder than you really are. I've only been to Norman in the summer. Yeah, we hear Skip Johnson talk about how cold and windy it is. I think I had a false impression. Maybe I just need to get to Norman more. That might be the lesson we need.
You definitely do. West says they got 12 inches of snow in January. That's
okay.
A lot.
Well, we got, I don't know, 3 or 4 here this winter. That wasn't much, but
we got ice. That's what we got.
Yeah, we did. We got like an inch of ice.
Yeah, no power for almost a week.
I liked Norman when I was there in Oklahoma City. It's been a long time, but people were nice. I have friends from there.
I like it too now. It's changed a lot since you've been there. Like it's probably pre Oklahoma City Thunder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Since the Thunder have come there, like they've made downtown, a fun place to go. What do they call the football stadium? The Palace on the what's it? What's the nickname? Palace on the Prairie, something like that.
Yeah. One of my best friends went to Jenks High School too.
Oh, so, really?
Which is Tulsa though. That's not Norman. But anyway, I apologize to Oklahoma, the whole state, the whole area of Norman for making your weather sound worse than it was. You just have this image in your head, and sometimes it doesn't match reality. We will correct that going forward, and we'll get our maps right too.
Comments. David Keith Williams, you want to go to Norman, Oklahoma more? Wouldn't expect to hear that comment.
Apparently, I need it. I mean, I'm just, we try to be prepared in these shows, and I'm just not on point today. I guess we should get back to baseball. We're just making Texas fans wait for what everybody knew was coming. Where's the banner to make it official? Texas, you were number 1. And I don't know. I would like to find a something to make it interesting of like, here's what's wrong with your team that could bite you. Not that I'd love to, but just to have a little talking point other than Texas is 15-0 and dominating. Just something interesting waiting out in the weeds that could bring Texas back to the pack maybe a bit. I'm not seeing it. I mean, they've been, the freshman class has been good. The rotation's been good. Rojas has been phenomenal on Fridays. Volantis has been kind of what you thought he'd be. Maybe not striking out as many guys in the starting rotation. Having to go longer and had a little bumpier outing last week. But, again, and in the 1-9 discussion of lineups, just guys that are all nightmares to pitch to, they're right there too.
Yeah, they are just the most complete team in all aspects. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah,
like they pitching wise, like they're number one. Essentially almost all the way across the board. They've only given up 4 home runs up to this point. They're number 2 in defense, only behind Georgia. Only 6 errors committed. That's what makes them good. Like when you got the best pitching staff and then your defense is top 5 in the country, like you're just going to win a bunch of games. And then they're top 4 offensively. So they do not have a lot of flaws at all. So really, really excited about the weekend series with Ole Miss coming to Austin this weekend.
Yeah, they're walking almost as much as they strike out. Tenney's swing and miss has come down a good bit, and the power hasn't even come like it can. Aiden Robbins has been unbelievable for them.
Yeah,
I guess Anthony Pack Jr. might be your freshman of the year at this point.
Do you think Robbins has been the best transfer portal addition in the league up to this point?
I mean, I can't think of who's been decisively better. Can you?
I'm trying to think. I'm talking like newcomers. Ace Reese doesn't count since he's in his second year. But like Robbins almost hitting 400. Dude just gets on base. I don't know. Like if you can think of somebody in the chat, certainly let us know. But that guy is, I knew he'd be good, but like he's been way better than I really envisioned him.
I mean, on the hitting side, I think it's him. You got a couple of guys at A&M that might be in that discussion if they were playing, and Jordan and Hakopian. And then on the pitching side, you got Mercurius at Oklahoma, transferred from UNLV. So, I mean, I think, if I had to make a split-second decision, it's him on the offensive side, and it's Mercurius on the pitching side.
And like he's got to be the best player Seton Hall has produced since Mo Vaughn and Biggio, right?
Yeah.
Can you think of any other player coming out of Seton Hall baseball wise? It's not York. I know he's a fan favorite, but
he's slumped.
Yeah, he's come back to reality.
Oh, you said Seton Hall. You had you said Biggio, right?
Biggio and Mo Vaughn.
Yeah, and I feel like they've had somebody else too, but those are their biggest.
Not a Hall of Famer and an MVP.
Yeah.
Jeez, Randy, that's mean.
Randy, we're nicer than that around here. Probably not the worst thing in the chat today, but
no. Could you imagine if a student athlete really did get an NIL deal from something like that?
That would be kind of funny, honestly.
David Keith Williams, Texas has only given up 1 stolen base. That's insane.
Ooh. Yeah, like Texas fans, what are you concerned about? I mean, other than just random health, I mean, that could get anybody. What's your point of concern? Because there's not a lot to pick from so far.
Yeah. I do think the mustache will get shaved this weekend.
Now, Wes has got a point. Texas has not played a brutal schedule, but they've also played some teams that are better than you're seeing in a lot of SEC parks. A lot of
They
weekends.
played in that tournament. They beat Baylor. Did they play Ohio State? I think they did play Ohio State, but they played in the same tournament as Ole Miss did in week 2. But yeah, the schedule hasn't been tough, but the big thing for Texas, they look the tests, they pass the eye test. Like Texas Rock says he's concerned about Harrison and Valantis not lasting more than 5 innings.
Okay, now that might be something interesting because Valantis is not nearly the dominant pitcher that he was in terms of like strikeout rate a year ago, which it's easier to do that in short bursts where you're going an inning or two, just come in and throw gas. There was a tail off this weekend from him, but he's keeping the ball on the ground a lot, which is going to help you when that happens. I've never really. Harrison's had a really nice career, but he's not a dominator. I've kind of always wondered why maybe Max Grubbs wasn't the guy in that spot, but I'm not Jim Schlossnagle. Maybe Grubbs is your silver bullet to use in relief in that kind of game where it's 2-2 in the 5th. You got the bases loaded and your bullpen's running on fumes. Not that Texas is in that spot a lot. I mean, I always it's like how Vanderbilt used Connor Finley a year ago. It's like always like having a guy in that spot, and I'm presuming that is part of the thinking there.
Grubb seems like he's first of all, he's pitched the most innings of anybody out of the bullpen on that roster. But he seems like he's the kind of like break glass in case of emergency. Like, put him out there. Like he can go 2 to 3 times a weekend. He's kind of got that rubber band arm. I for Grubbs, I think you just you stick with him with what you've been doing, and that's just like bullpen. You can really put him in and like anywhere between like the 3rd and the 6th inning, and he's going to be fine.
And you could always move Sam Cozart into that spot. He's a freshman, but he's been dynamite in midweeks.
Yeah, he has.
And they haven't even had to use Burns all that much just because they're ahead so much.
I'm trying to look at the Burns and Grubbs have the most appearances along with Michael and Winter. But Grubbs and Burns, they got the most strikeouts of anybody out of the bullpen. So it definitely seems like, they're leaning on those 2 guys the most.
Here's another statement about what they have. Like, how many teams would kill to have an Ethan Walker right now?
A lot.
Yeah, I mean, he's pitched 4 innings. Do you remember how good he looked in the SEC tournament a year ago? He went 5 or 6 innings. I think they were maybe shut out against, I believe it was Tennessee. And Ethan Walker just kind of been sitting out there all year as like their 13th guy.
He hasn't walked anybody.
Nope, which is not unusual on that staff.
What I look at, I look at appearances. Appearances tell me like how much a coach trusts you. You can't really look at his innings. It may be spot duty here or there, or it just worked 1, 2, 3 innings. So
right.
I look at appearances. He's towards the top in appearances coming out of the bullpen. Only Crossland has more appearances for Texas coming out of the bullpen.
How many home runs have they given up? It's not that many.
4.
Yeah, they went like 3 weeks before they gave one up.
Burns and Grubb sounds like a weird kids TV show. It sounds like
or a law firm.
Yeah, or a law firm. What is it? The Muppets? Sounds like they'd be Muppets, doesn't it?
They're like the 2 guys in the stands that heckle.
Yeah,
that could work. Any parting thoughts?
I think everybody in the chat, everybody watching, I think everybody is just ready for SEC play to get here. So it's been fun up to this point, but we're about to kick it in a different gear.
Yeah, it's been fun. I cannot wait to see all these teams play each other. And we've got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of basketball coming up this week. I won't be involved in that so much, but we'll be at the tournament actually. So that'll be fun. I'll be sliding back and forth between the arena and Vandy LSU for baseball, which will be fun.
So are you sitting next to Blake and Max, like all three y'all together?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we're different. I think they get the prime seats, and I've got other responsibilities, so I'll just be doing that. I've been in that mid-court seat before behind the TV guys.
Yeah, man, be careful though. Like these courtside seats that they're selling drive me crazy. I know everybody's got to make money.
Are they doing that at the tournament this year in Nashville?
Take it to the bank.
Oh, that's right. I think they did that. Like they took the front row off. I'd forgotten that.
They haven't, like, for the women's tournament, they didn't do anything until this year, and their fans like everywhere. So they cut like the tables that were essentially baseline to baseline, like, they basically get chopped in half.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, everybody's got to make money, right?
Sitting on media row for that tournament is fun because you see the game from a perspective that you don't get to all year, and you understand how athletic and physical these guys are. It's like watching a different game than what you see on TV.
It is, and if you've never been to it, you definitely need to go, especially if Kentucky loses. Then you can just hang outside Bridgestone Arena, and a Kentucky fan will just give you some tickets.
Right.
Because
anyway,
let me tell you what you can take to the bank. Big Blue Nation travels.
Boy, no joke about that. Anyway, we'll have you covered with baseball, basketball, and then football as it comes this week. We will probably do a Thursday show, I'm guessing. I have to change the time on that, a preview. We might even have to do it Wednesday night. I don't know what my schedule is going to be, but we'll do a preview prediction show for the weekend. And then we'll do recaps probably Friday and Sunday is my guess. Sunday night after we get through all the bracket stuff for basketball, and then we'll be back at it with this Monday.
Yeah, then we'll really dive into it baseball-wise, like cannonball in the deep end of the pool. By the way, we got a question by David Keith Williams if you want to dive into it.
Yeah, that's a good one. He's got a good point. I mean, I just considered because he struck out so many guys to be a power guy, and I thought his top-end velo was a little higher than that, but David's always got some good stuff for us, so I appreciate that. I mean, he's got a point. He does have a heavier ground ball tilt and fly ball when it's in play, and that helps a lot too. So
I don't know if I would consider him a power pitcher. I think his like strength is location. Like he that guy can just locate in my mind.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, when you're watching on TV, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between 93 and 97. And when you watch the swings against him, you know what I mean? Like It was like, good luck to you.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. You don't understand the movement of these pitches until like you're super close. When I was in Mobile and broadcasting the games for the Bay Bears, like the way that stadium is set up, the suites are field level and not like up top. So sometimes we would broadcast the games like in the first suite right behind home plate, and like we're talking like Tyler Corbin, Tyler Skaggs, Trevor Bauer, like those guys were pitching when I was in Mobile, and like every time it's like, how do people hit this stuff? And like they're not big leaguers yet, so it's to me the hardest thing to do in sports is to hit a baseball.
Yeah, I don't know. Like my moment with that was like, you remember when Walker Buehler was at Vanderbilt and was a midweek guy?
Yeah,
and like everybody talked about the potential, and he was good, but he wasn't striking out everybody in sight like David Price had done a few years before that. And so like I went to a game, they played Belmont in the midweek, and Belmont, there's a little park, there's a public park that's real close to Belmont. If you're not familiar with Nashville, like Lipscomb, Belmont, and Vanderbilt are all within about 5 minutes of each other on the edge. And Tennessee State, actually not too far away either. But like Belmont had this park called Rose Park, and it was really small. And the press box was the closest I've ever seen to the field. And I watched Walker Buehler throw midweek, and he's got 4 pitches. and all of them are really moving. And like that stuff that you can't see from a normal press box.
Right.
It's further distance away. So you're right. Like sometimes I'll go down and sit in the stands if I can grab a front or second row seat just to catch that, because you do pick up on things. Like they got analytics and things now that'll tell us that, but you do pick up on stuff. Like, and it's not just that the pitches have movement. If you've got a bunch of them and you don't know what's coming next and you can throw them for strikes. I mean, that's the other thing that makes hitting a baseball so tough, is just that ability to do that with different pitches. So
yeah, it was. Sorry, I got distracted by some of the comments.
They're interesting today. Cade Anderson was at his best 93. I don't think that's right. I could have sworn Cade Anderson was throwing mid-90s in Omaha.
It certainly seemed like he was.
No, maybe early year that was true, but that doesn't sound right to me.
Well, we're about to see velocity go up, especially since we're about to be like in the 80s and 90s pretty consistently. So you're going to see velo go up here coming up in the next week or two.
Yeah. Yeah, David, tell your friend to join the channel. You guys, your questions and comments are as astute as anybody's. But I didn't know that. I think I just assumed Volantis threw harder, because when you just watch guys try to swing against him last year, it just looked helpless.
Yeah, which is why he was so good. But like, if you're Texas and like if your biggest worry is like, can Volantis go 5 innings, like that's that's a good problem to have. Like if that's the biggest, if that's like the number one thing that you have to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, because you've got Grubbs, Crossland, any number of guys, like Ethan Walker, like I said, even him. So yeah. All right, I think that's about it for today. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate all of you. We appreciate our sponsors. If you think about it, then join one of our membership tiers. We will do some members only content that might be after basketball's ended. I don't know what we'll do for that, but we'll do something. Just special shows that are just us and a few of the viewers for our paid members. Visit Norman, Oklahoma.
You got to. You need to go. I feel like it's been a minute since you've been to all the SEC towns and cities, so you need to do it. I'm lucky and fortunate enough, like I get to do it. I get to go everywhere at least twice a year. And so like I grew up in a college town. I love going to college towns and cities and just seeing how they compare and contrast. So you definitely need to do it to get an updated sense of like what all these places are like now. Because you were telling me the last time you've been to Oxford and Ole Miss was like a lifetime ago. Like
since kids. And my wife works full time. I just like I save for my road trip for Hoover. That's the one I want to do. It's not a far drive for me. Other than that, I just don't make any asks, and frankly, I just don't have that much time.
Yeah.
Plus, you can watch well, and if you're going to cover the league on a meaningful basis, it's better to sit in your bonus room with a couple of TVs on.
It is, without doubt.
Anyway, yeah, we will. I'd love to do some live shows somewhere one day. Maybe we get to that point.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, do a game day show in every SEC city. That could be a long-term goal.
Let's do it. Put it on the list.
Make it happen.
Yeah, put it on the list.
Anyway, we thank you guys sincerely for being here. Always have a lot of fun with you. It's good to see the regular names in the chat and some new ones. Anyway, visit our sponsors. God bless you guys. Have a great rest of your week. You've been watching Southeastern 16 presented by FanDuel.